Hello everyone. So we're back from camping and I wanted to try a little something a little bit different. I would love to read this book with you guys, The Red Tent. This book was absolutely life-changing for me. I read it a couple times. I actually was just about to restart it again and then thought, you know what, I am going to read this with all of you. So this book first came to me, I was trying to remember this morning when it came to me, and it was a long time ago, like before I had my first daughter. So she's 13, and I can't remember exactly who shared it with me. I feel like it was either my friend Monique or possibly Sonia. So if either of you ever happen to see this video and it was one of you, I apologize for not remembering exactly who, but I believe both of you would have been a huge influence to me in regards to this book. This book took me on a huge journey of, you know, the sacredness of our moon times, the divine feminine that we are, right, and how sacred we are. And something in the Bible that never sat well with me and that I always questioned was the lack of women and the lack of like women, you know, like the power that we hold and how truly sacred we are. And really, a lot of what we read in the Bible is it's that patriarch, right? That men over us. So when I read this book, it was just like, wow, that kind of like opened the door to me of like, and this came to me at a time where I was very heavily into the Christian religion, you know, and just certain things just not sitting well with me and not aligning and not resonating with me. And so reading this book was like, yes, like finally something, you know, that I can, you know, start to resonate with and start to see, like, see the sacredness that women, you know, that we hold, right? And how important it is that we pass this down to our daughters, right? And, you know, the sacredness of our moon time, and, you know, how us women, we truly, as much as they're trying to destroy that right now, they never will be able to, because women are truly a portal, right? We create life inside of us, right? They've tried to make our moon times this thing that we, you know, we don't talk about, or it's an embarrassing thing, or it's dirty, right? But literally, like, your moon time is now bringing you into time of your life where you can yourself create life, yes, with the help, you know, of the divine masculine, with the male counterpart. I know sometimes when I talk about the divine feminine, I get certain people jumping on me being like, don't forget the male, don't forget the male. Like, yes, I do not forget the male, and I equally know that it is a balance between the two, right? But it is the feminine that has been taken out of so much of everything, which is why I try to speak about it. And, you know, I have 2 daughters, right? So yeah, it also, you know, was my beginning into really holding that sacredness, you know, higher, and a big part of my life, right? The 3 blessing ways that women traditionally, like I traditionally, with part of my heritage, the women would have blessing ways, right? So the 3 different pivotal parts: when you start your moon time, when you, just before you have your baby, and then again when you enter, you know, the time in your life where you don't have your moon time anymore. So, you know, those are all times to celebrate and to just honor that divine feminine that we are, right? So that is, or this book was a huge part of my journey. I am so blessed and honored to have had women, you know, some of those women may not be in my life anymore, but women on my path from when I was having kids, you know, being able to have those sacred blessing ways, and then now, you know, with my best friend, and being able to now have blessing ways for our girls as they enter womanhood. And my best friend is absolutely gifted with putting together the most breathtaking, magical blessing ways that I was able to experience not that long ago. So back to this book. I wanted to read this book with you guys because I'm going to be passing it down to my daughter right away, but it's just, again, it is just a book that was so pivotal in my part of my awakening, you know, way back when. Different parts of me have awakened throughout, right? And so it is a, you know, historical fiction. So the lady that wrote it, Anita Diamond, I could probably saying that wrong. You are gonna have to bear with me. A lot of the names and, you know, maybe places that are written about in here, I struggle with a lot of, you know, maybe pronouncing them properly, so you will have to bear with me if I, you know, stumble upon words and stuff. But so she, you know, it is based on, you know, her looking into the history of things, and then, you know, trying to, you know, write a book from that, what she thought things may have been like, because we don't have books like this, right? The books in the Bible that had anything to do with like women, like the Magdalene, all those were taken out, right? So there's very little talk about women within the Bible, and when it is, it's definitely not anything to do with a sacred time. So yeah, I thought this would be a good book to read with you guys, you know, hopefully to have conversation with about. And so my kids are home today. I don't know how much time I will have to be able to get into this before I do get interrupted. So I think for today, I'm just going to do the prelude with you. I'm hoping that I can maybe set aside time every week to do at least a chapter with you guys. I would love to see comments below this video and next videos coming up of any questions that you may have. You should easily be able to find this book wherever you like to buy books, you know, whether that be your local bookstore or online somewhere. It is a well-known book, so it should be a book that you can find. And yeah, so I thought I would get into this with you guys. And so this is just the prelude, and we'll see how far we can get. So we have been lost to each other for so long. My name means nothing to you. My memory is dust. This is not your fault or mine. The chain connecting mother to daughter was broken, and the word passed to keeping of men who had no way of knowing. That is why I became a footnote. My story, a brief detour between the well-known history of my father, Jacob, and the celebrated chronicle of Joseph, my brother. On those rare occasions when I was remembered, it was as a victim. Near the beginning of your holy book, there is a passage that seems to say I was raped, and continues with the bloody tale of how my honor was avenged. It's a wonder that any mother ever called a daughter Dina again, but some did. Maybe you guessed that there was more to me than the voiceless sphere in my text. Maybe you heard it in the music of my name, the first vowel high and clear, as when a mother calls to her child at dusk, and the second sound soft for whispering secrets on pillows. Dina. No one recalled my skills as a midwife or the songs I sang, or the bread I baked for my insatiable brothers. Nothing remained except a few mangled details about those weeks in Shalom. There were far more to tell. Had I been asked to speak of it, I would have begun with the story of the generation that raised me, which is the only place to begin. If you want to understand any woman, you must first ask about her mother and then listen carefully. Stories about food show a strong connection. Wistful silence demonstrate unfinished business. The more a daughter knows the details of her mother's life without flinching or whining, the stronger the daughter. Of course, this is more complicated for me because I had 4 mothers, each of them scolding, teaching, and cherishing something different about me, giving me different gifts, cursing me with different fears. Leah gave birth to her splendid arrogance. Rachel showed me where to place the midwife's bricks and how to fix my hair. Zilpah made me think. Bilhah listened. No 2 of my mothers seasoned the stew the same way. Nor 2 of them spoke to my father in the same tone of voice, nor he to them. And you should know that my mothers were sisters as well. Lebian's daughters, by different wives, though my grandfather never acknowledged Zilpah and Bilhah, that would have cost him 2 more dowries, and he was a stingy pig. Like any sisters who live together and share a husband, my mother and auntie spun a sticky web of loyalties and grudges. They traded secrets like bracelets, and these were handed down to me, the only surviving girl. They told me things I was too young to hear. They held my face between their hands and made me swear to remember. My mothers were proud to give my father so many sons. Sons were a woman's pride and her measure. But the birth of one boy after another was just unalloyed source of the woman's tent. My father boasts about his noisy tribe, and the woman loved my brothers, but they longed for daughters too, and complained among themselves about the maleness of Jacob's seed. Daughters eased their mother's burdens, helping with the spinning, the grinding of grain, and the endless tasks of looking after baby boys who are forever pinned into the corners of tents, no matter what you told them. But the other reason women wanted daughters was to keep their memories alive. Sons did not hear their mother's secrets after weaning, so I was the one. My mother and my mother's aunties told me endless stories about themselves. No matter what their hands were doing, holding babies, cooking, spinning, weaving, they filled my ears. In the ruddy shade of the red tent, the menstrual tent, they ran their fingers through my curls, repeating the escapes of their youth, the sagas of their childbirths. Their stories were like offerings of hopes and strength poured out before the Queen of Heaven. Only these gifts were not for any god or goddess, but for me. I can still feel how my mothers loved me. I have cherished their love always. It sustained me. It kept me alive, even after I left them. Even now, so long after their deaths, I am confronted by their memory. I carried my mother's tales into the next generation, but the stories of my life were forbidden to me, and the silence nearly killed the heart in me. It did not die, but lived long enough for other stories to fill up my days and nights. I watched babies open their eyes upon a new world. I found cause for laughter and gratitude. I was loved, and now you come to me. Woman with hands and feet as soft as queens, with more cooking pots than you need, so safe in childbed and so free with your tongues. You come hungry for the story that was lost. You crave words to fill the great silence that swallowed me and my mother's and my grandmother's before them. I wish I had more to tell you of my grandmothers. It is terrible how much has been forgotten, which is why I suppose remembering seems a holy thing. I am so grateful that you have come. I will pour out everything inside of me so you may leave this table satisfied and fortified. Blessings on your eyes, blessings on your children, blessings on the ground beneath you. My heart is a ladle of sweet water brimming over. Saleh. Sorry, it's super hot in my house. So I can already hear my little guy. So I do need to kind of wrap this up here. I did forget to mention that because of the times, you are going to hear in this book, obviously the polygamy of more than one wife, which if you've read the Bible, you know Jacob's story, as well as, you know, just call it what it is, the pedophilia, you know, of like young women being given and married to men. You know, that was another thing that just always did not sit well with me when I was going through the Bible and reading the Bible and hearing these stories. And, you know, now that my daughter is, you know, of the same age, 13 years old, I cannot even imagine her being with a man, like a man, right? And yeah, so that is one thing that I meant to kind of not warn you, but just, you know, kind of put that out there. I'm super excited to dive into this with you. The red tent was, like she mentioned, a time where the women would go together during their moon times, which was usually synced up with the full moon, and they would share their knowledge. They would pass it on to the other women. The women did have their own gods and goddesses that they worshipped within that tent. That will come out within this book. You know, there's lots that I'm excited to dive into with you in regards to this book. So again, if you would like to purchase your own to read along with me, just to have, if you have girls of your own, it is such a gift to pass this on to them. So it is called The Red Tent, and sadly that is all for today, but we will check back in hopefully next week and dive into chapter 1. I hope you guys enjoyed this first part of it, and we will see you soon.